Hey guys, it's Joshua Myers, aka Mobon Kiki, and today I have another ink with me. We're at number 7. That's wild, y'all. So, today I just want to go over me drawing day 27 of Inktober, which was Road, and I decided to draw a girl hitchhiking. It took me a while before I knew exactly what I wanted to draw for this one because I was starting to get burnt out from drawing every single day, like full illustrations, inking full illustrations each and every day for Inktober. And like, I was just ready to be done, y'all. Remind you, this is day 27. I still had a few more days to go. But I found this girl hitchhiking on Pinterest and I was like, I want to use that. I'm going to use that. So I did, obviously. And like, I think it was pretty successful for the most part. I inked most of it with a brush pen. Y'all know my favorite tool is the brush pen, even when I'm inking digitally. And I also used some regular pens in order to ink the hatching lines. But yeah, use Pinterest as usual, and I wanted to have like some strong contrast. I like my pictures to have a lot of contrast between black and white so you can easily tell what you're looking at as soon when you look at the picture. I'm really big on readability when it comes to how my characters look and their poses, you know? Like I have her thumb going up so we know she's hitchhiking, and we got the road around her. And I didn't put a whole lot of effort into the background because I was more focused on the character, and we all know I don't like to draw backgrounds. Now, again, I was a little burnt out, so I wasn't really trying to draw the background at all because I did do a few backgrounds during Inktober around this time. But yeah, I really like the brush pen just due to how smooth it flows. I also like the G pen for that same reason, and if I didn't use this, I would have used the G pen for sure, even for like the inking, for the cross hatching. But it's really easy to get the folds. To me, inking with a brush pen is easily like one of the most rewarding ways to finish a piece of artwork because like it's very immediate. You know, like the gratification to me, it's immediate gratification as you're inking things like this. And like the fact that you can easily do like large black spaces with these brush pens makes it so much better, y'all, because like I wouldn't have to get a bottle of ink out and then a brush, like a whole separate brush just to fill in the blacks. I wouldn't have to get a marker and waste a whole lot of my alcohol markers, as in my Copics. Because we all know how expensive those markers are, and I have no sponsors, so you know it's slow for just using as much as I can just because I know I'm about to have more, you know. That's not here yet. It will come though. But yeah, soon we'll get into me hatching, and I want to explain why I like hatching so much. I like to use hatching to describe the forms I'm using, and I hatch around where the contours would be, or where I imagine they would be. And like, I hatch more than I cross hatch, but when I do cross hatch, it's for when things are like even more dark. Like the darker you get, the more I start to cross hatch. And you'll see me hatch a bit more in here. I do use the words interchangeably, so my mistake, just know like if they're not crossing, I don't think it's really considered cross hatching, it's just hatching. But yeah, do a lot of cross hatching in this picture. But before I had got there, I made sure I did the woman's hair and her clothes and really her whole body, because I want to make sure that I have the outline for what I want to draw first before I decide I want to start hatching, because hatching is like the finishing touches for me. Because like when I am inking like I am here, I'm making sure like the outline looks good and all my lines are placed where I want them to be placed. That way the readability is there and you know what you're looking at, while also being able to recognize like the folds and all the creases in the folds. And like this was really peaceful to draw. I typically listen to music while I'm drawing, so that helps me get into the flow of it. It gives me more stimulation as I draw, because I've been finding myself pretty understimulated when I draw, especially lately. And I've been trying to find ways to get myself to stay stimulated without allowing myself to procrastinate, because when I'm watching like a new show, I'm going to procrastinate. But if I put on like SpongeBob, I'm not going to procrastinate. I've seen all those episodes when I was younger, at least, the older episodes. And it's easy to just have as background noise, but I don't always want to listen to that. And then when I don't want to listen to music, I want to listen to some YouTube. And a lot of the things I listen to on YouTube require some sort of attention. So I'm trying to find that balance. It's really hard. It's really hard to find that balance for myself, at least. And I'm trying to find more time to make for art, because like lately I've been doing a lot of stuff for YouTube and TikTok, especially TikTok, because I had a video that was blowing up, and now I'm like, okay, now that I have that, I might as well just start, staying consistent with it, because if I'm not consistent with it, I'm not going to learn the algorithm. And trying to learn the algorithm is so irritating, and like it truly does take away from the art of it all, the heart of it all. And I'm trying to get to a point where I still make exactly what I want to make without it being such a hassle in terms of trying to promote it or making a video for it, because at the end of the day, I still have to promote this. There's no other way for me to get my name out there outside of conventions, and I'm already signing up for those opportunities. I'm getting some of those opportunities, and I'm grateful for each one, but I'm trying to get more, because I'm really trying to stand on my own. I really want to be able to thrive with my art. I don't want to have to keep doing all of these side jobs just because I need to make ends meet. I'd like to make my ends meet with my passion. I like to make my ends meet with the degree I have. I got my degree for a reason. It's the whole purpose of going to college. There's no other point, in my eyes, other than to learn and ensure that you can get a job, or at least have the experience in order to get a job. But the job market's so trash right now. But yeah, making content has been taking up all of my time, and I've noticed since I was younger, I've always had issues managing my time, because it takes me longer to do things than I expect myself to be taking. And like that takes away from what I'm doing quite a bit, because I can be sitting here for hours working on like a video or two, and then like feel like I didn't really do much, but the whole time I did whole videos, a bunch of edits, and I was technically creating, I just wasn't drawing. And it's a different type of creating. It's not the type of creating that fulfills me as much as making these pictures does. And that makes it feel like I have less time to really like practice what I want to do, because most of my time is being taken trying to figure out the algorithm and find ways to make sure my art is getting shown, to make sure that my videos are showing up on y'all's feeds. Like there's a whole process to this, and it's not easy. And like, I don't know, it's just making content full time. Like, I'd much rather do this than work in food service still. But this isn't, it's not paying the bills. Not yet, at least. And I would love for it to. I would love for it to, y'all. Because it would just allow me to do what I need to do and continue to create, continue to pursue my passions, continue to do what I know my soul needs to do. Because, like, you get these feelings and you get these urges, and it's like, ooh, I have to act upon this. And, like, I have the discernment, at least I believe I have the discernment to know, like, this is something I actually have to do. This isn't like a delusion. This isn't like something that would put me in any harm's way. This is something that I am, I guess you could say, destined to do. And I've always felt that way. And I won't take any other answers. So I'm stubborn in that aspect. But it's like, I'm passionate too. I just really want this to work. And I'm willing to put in the work to make it work. It's just, I really wish someone else could do the social media aspect for me. But hey, gotta learn how to play the game, even the parts that you don't enjoy to do. But making these TikToks has been pretty rewarding so far. So I got more people to get into my Discord, and because like not a lot of people had seen my art community video and like actually joined my Discord that I had made on my YouTube. But a lot of people from my TikTok were starting to converge on here. And when I tell you it's some really good artists on here, and like getting to meet other people who create and are trying to, make ends meet, trying to get their career started, it's really nice to see. Because what we mainly see, at least what I mainly see on the internet, is people who have already made it or like have already found their niche or style, and I don't fully feel like I found that yet. Like, my style is consistent now. It's definitely consistent. I can definitely give myself that. I learned that after doing Inktober. I realized, I was like, oh, I have been making decisions that are pretty consistent with how I draw overall. But now it's getting to the point where, like, the poses I do, I want to get better with my posing. I can do it with a reference. I always recommend reference, but I don't want to be a slave to my reference, because that doesn't allow enough creativity in the long run. You know what I mean? But yeah, so you see me hatching over here, and I'm using the contours of her leg to make sure like we can tell that it's wrapping around and that her leg is a 3D form. And I do this with like the wrinkles too, because I want to make sure, everything looks like a 3D form. It doesn't look flat. The last thing I want is for the character to look flat, especially when it's a little bit more dynamic, or like, suppose I really want the person to see. And I feel like this is one of those really bold poses, not only thanks to the pose, but the way she's dressed and the fact she's hitchhiking. Y'all, I do not recommend hitchhiking at all. It is not legal, so don't do that. It's not safe. It's literally not safe. And like, this was actually pretty fun to do. I have been learning a lot more about hatching recently, like in pictures outside of this one, and I am definitely going to be enhancing the way I do it, because I always like to hatch when I do traditional art. I don't really hatch as much. I always like to hatch when I did like figure drawings, not anything that had to do with like my anime type of style or my comic book style. So I've been trying to find ways to incorporate that to make sure it's consistent and that like it emphasizes what I want to emphasize and it looks good. Like, certain artists just do it so well, and I do believe I need to start studying more artists more often. and not just cling on to like the realism aspect, because like yeah, it's all good to do realism, but if you're never stylizing, you're not gonna know how to stylize. And finding other artists we like allows us to learn how to stylize in similar ways to them. But like having that background knowledge of the realism and how it would look in real life allows us to know how or why they made the decisions they made in order to, accentuate the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the limbs, anything of that nature, maybe even the hair. There's just a lot that goes on with the whole drawing thing. But yeah, I'm trying to balance all of this YouTube, TikTok, my part-time job, and just my career as a whole, because I'm signing up for all these conventions and I want to make sure I have enough art to show people. I also need to work on my comic. Y'all. Like, I can't procrastinate on it no longer. Asmodeus Chapter 2 needs to be completed, because I'm halfway done with the pencils. I need to do the other half, and then inking won't be as hard. It will take long, but it won't be as hard as actually sketching it all out, because for me it takes longer to get the whole sketch done, since I'm trying to make sure I know what will be where. I don't have much of a mind's eye, so I'm more aphantasia, so I don't really like see the scene. I have to like explain it out to myself. I have like a little outline or something so I know what I want to go on, and then like place things around it as I go. That's just how I work. You could say I rely more on spontaneity when I draw, which I think leaves a lot of room for creativity. That's a good thing, but it also leaves room for, a little anxiety and like just wondering like, how will this turn out? And I just have to fall in love with the process. I have to accept the process and not question it too much. People, I'm using that Rapidograph pen. That's what I've been using to do the hatching. The Rapidographs are very consistent with their line, and that's why I use that instead of like a ballpoint pen. And like, I'm all about consistency and cleanliness. I feel like the shadows are working pretty well in this picture, and like this is one of my favorite poses out of what I did during Inktober. It's not my favorite picture, but it is one of my favorite poses. And for my other artists who enjoy hatching and cross hatching, what other artists do you look to learn? Like, which other artists do you look to learn from when it comes to hatching, when it comes to your spot blacks? Because me personally, I look at like Mike Mignola when it comes to the spot blacks, because he does it perfectly in my eyes. And then for hatching, I haven't been looking at them recently, but Kai Urana, the person who created, I think it's pronounced Gaki Akuda or Gachi Akuda, bro, her art is so amazing. Like, it's jaw-dropping. And bro, I'm amazed every time I look at her pages. Every single time. It never fails. And the way she hatches and the way she stylizes her characters is amazing. And I've noticed other people are starting to like catch on to her style. And one thing I like to do, like borrow from her, is the way she hatches. It just works very well. Even for like the way she does her eyes, it's super expressive, and that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get more expressive in my art, more flow, more fluidity, more expression. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video of me inking. My name is Mobon Kiki. You can also call me the Kaizen Creative. I appreciate you all for sticking around, watching me draw, listening to me yap. And if there's anything you want to know from me, any videos you want me to create, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know about those characters, well, those artists who cross hatch and hatch, and just people with really good pen and ink styles, because I identify more with pen and ink, and that's just up my alley. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Y'all stay healthy, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, y'all.